Is it visible to all of you? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, so this session is on your environment and society. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, till now, 2 students have joined, I think.
Yes, sir.
So where are other students?
Sir, I informed in group. I think they will join.
Okay. Okay. Let us wait for 3 minutes. How many students are there in this group?
Sir, I think 20 to 25 students.
Oh, that means at least 15 students should join. Only 2 students have joined. They know the time, na 6 to 8.
Yes, sir.
So why they are not joining?
They don't have any link to join, I think.
I think this mail has been given to all the participants, na the video link. The Google Meet link has been given na to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So then why are they not joining?
So let's wait for 5 minutes. I think they will join.
Okay. 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 Tell them to join. Otherwise, the topic will
Yes,
start and they may not be able to understand.
yes, sir. Yes.
Will we start?
So yes, sir.
So till now, 2 students only have joined, na?
Yes, sir.
So let us start. Let them join later. So
Okay, sir.
I think you are all are of MSc Environmental Science students, okay? And you have enrolled
Yes,
on
sir.
IGNO, okay? And you are in the final semester of this of your 2-year course, okay?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So this environment and society section has been allotted to me to have a um, uh, orientation of the students. So during this 2 years course, you must have understood what is environment and what are the different components of environment and how environment is a multidisciplinary nature and how the society, particularly human society, is constantly interacting with the environmental components, and in some or other way we are disturbing the different parts of the environment by our unthoughtful activities, over exploitation, or we can say exhaust from industries, automobiles, and greenhouse gas emissions from the even the rice fields like methane. And as we know, the carbon dioxide concentration, which was around 180 ppm before the industrial growth, now it has reached almost 420 ppm around, so almost double. And we know CO2 or carbon dioxide has the inherent property to keep track of the energy, heat energy, and not allowed to radiate it so easily to outer space. So our Earth is becoming warmer, and what we in a layman term saying global warming or greenhouse effect. As the phenomena happens in greenhouse, when the solar radiations enter into the system, but when radiating back, it is trapped. So the average the temperature of the greenhouse gases increases where we maintain our nursery plants or grow our plants, tissue culture plants to acclimatize. So the phenomenon as is same. So it is called greenhouse effect. But why we are linking or why we are thinking to link environment with society? So what is the relationship with environment and society? So how the thoughts of environmentalism has evolved over the anthropocentrism. We know anthropocentrism means the human-centric developments, human-centric activities, where uh, we only think of human development, human growth, our human comfort without the um, any thought to us giving a second thought to the environmental components. As we see in urban areas, we develop the households or the city in urban area. We uh, build our houses without giving any space in and around of at least 5 to 10 meters for the planting trees or the developing some green um, vegetation, so that cities are behaving like heat islands, and all of a sudden very fast the temperature are rising in the urban areas, and it is becoming very tough to live in because of the high temperatures. So can you any of you tell why we want to discuss environment and society together? Any just 1 or 2 lines, just any 1 or 2 lines, why we want to discuss environment and society together, not society alone or not alone environment. Why want to tag environment or some social issues and environment? Why?
Support to protect the environment for the sustainable management in
Yes,
our
obviously.
ecosystem.
Yes, yes. Actually, environment and society, what we say, we want to inculcate or we want to introduce the sense of responsibility, as the Article 21 of our Constitution says, gives a right to clean and hygienic environment. So as we have the right, or we have duty for to maintain the clean and hygienic environment. So Article 48A, Article 51A(g) of the Constitution discuss in detail on it. And if you say environment and society has some issues, like we can say climate change, and we have deforestation, we have clean water and sanitation issues, we have solid waste management issues, because in society we generate waste. Nowadays, you see the age of plastics or polythene. Whatever thing, even you take a 1 rupee chocolate, also we generate some polythene. Also, you take any material, anything you say which is not packaged with polythene for our better marketing purpose or attracting the customers. But side by side, we are generating the waste. No one is careful about it. So how we can create a responsible citizen towards environment, to think about environment before taking any actions. That's why we in detail we're discussing on environment and society. And you see the environmental movements. You see environmental movements are many. Like we say in Odisha, Gandhamana Bacha Andalan, then Narmada Bacha Andalan, Chipko movements, silent valley movements, and many types of issues, and many NGOs like Greenpeace, they work also towards environment, or World Wildlife Fund that works for the environment. Then IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, that also work for the nature, or to assign some the species, their status, whether it is critically endangered or endangered, or it is threatened or vulnerable, looking at the population status in the wild as well as that domesticated conditions. So let us move towards. So in this session, I have tried to discuss on the social issues related to the environment, define the climate change, discuss the environmental ethics, discuss sustainable development. So above all, when we are thinking of environmental society, so we want to link environment with society with economy. So we need to have three domains. So in the center stage where we find the common section is called sustainable development, environment, society and economics. So हमको परिवेश की सुरक्षा चाहिए, हमको आर्थिक प्रगति चाहिए, हमको समाज की सुरक्षा, समाज की उन्नति भी चाहिए. So when we coordinate all these things, और we एक संतुलन वातावरण वातावरण हम क्रिएट करना चाहते हैं, तो हमको एक सेंटर स्टेज को जाना पड़ेगा, एक कॉमन सेक्शन को जाना पड़ेगा, वो होता है सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट, कीपिंग बैलेंस विथ ऑल दी सेक्टर्स. So the issues and happenings arises in a society is known as social issues. Human beings and society are interrelated. Without society, there is no existence of man, and without man, a society cannot exist. So without society, we know there is no existence of man. So समाज के बिना मानव की जो existence है, we cannot think of, और मानव के बिना समाज की जो existence है, also we cannot think of. So as man and society are interrelated with each other, therefore social issues are also arising in the society by man's activity. Different types of social issues we know, like sustainable development, conservation of energy resources. So you see, so today's or this year's World Earth Day was celebrated on which date? Who can say? Every year, World Earth Day is celebrated on which date? Without looking on Google or any reference, the April 22nd. So this was our power, our planet. That means if we want to conserve energy, or if we want to conserve or save their fossil fuels or non-renewable resources, we have to use it very wisely and effectively or efficiently. That's why you see five-star electronic devices are coming, LED lights we are using. Why? Why to? Because to conserve energy. If you save energy today, that will also save our future or save our environment. तो आप जितना एनर्जी विल एक्सपेंड, सो उतना ही हमको कोल बर्निंग करना पड़ेगा, कोल ट्रांसफर करना पड़ेगा। वो कोल ट्रांसपोर्ट बर्निंग में हमारा उतना ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशन होगा। Like another thing we say, that means what you consume more, so you have to produce more. You have to produce more means you have to do the mining more. So like this cycle or the product cycles what depend are also consumes to different stages, at different stages different energy amount that is in greenhouse gases. Then conservation of water is another, like rainwater harvesting we are discussing in very detail. Mm. Or we say conservation water means rainwater harvesting structures. Now we want to develop, we want to build embankments on the streams, or we want to so that is also called conservation of water. So we need to conserve water. We know the situation happened in the last year, 2024, in Bangalore city. You must have heard the news how the water crisis was acute, and even we stopped taking food on our plates because we have to wash it. So we use the paper plates, etc. So the conservation of water is one of the important issues. Then resettlement and rehabilitation of people. When we are going for mining or industrial development, or even building dams, water dams, so we have to shift the people. So how to resettle and rehabilitate the people? So environmental ethics, like we say, our conscience, what our conscience says, or how what we should do, we should able to judge. और हमारा जो सुविचार बोलते हैं, सुविचार that means good thinking, justified activities we should adopt for our environmental safety and security. Then climate change, we know what the impact of climate change is there. The frequent occurrences of cyclones on the oceans like Bay of Bengal or Pacific oceans, causing havoc in the lands and causing the loss of life and property. So it causes the so it is the one of the biggest impact of climate change. Wasteland reclamation. Wasteland reclamation means suppose due to deforestation or desertification, the forest lands or grasslands are being converted to desert lands. So these desertification, what to say? So how to reclaim that wastelands? We have to go for plantation or even eco restoration. If a forest is degraded, or if a forest is destroyed due to overexploitation, how we can go for again plantation after program to restore the environmental setup or ecosystem. So that is called wasteland reclamation. Then consumerism and waste products. Consumerism was one of the biggest threat to our society, or the generation of waste product from consumerism is also biggest threat. We know, suppose I always give examples to the students that if I am satisfied with 5 pairs of dresses, then why I'll go for 10 pairs of dresses? If I'll go for 10 pairs of dresses means I have to use more uh, cloth, or I have to use the more industrial products that is not actually sustainable. Because if you use more cloth means the factory has to produce more. The factory will produce more means the factory will use more electricity, more water for machinery maintenance or the waste discharge. So by this way it is um, called as the consumerism, over consuming, and by the consumerism, more consumerism, we generate more waste products. So that is very harmful to our environment. Then sustainable development, we know that the development that meets the needs of the present and would meet the needs of future generation is referred to as sustainable development. The benefits of sustainable development must be available to all humans, irrespective of rich and poor, and members of privileged and unprivileged groups. The concept of sustainable development appeared in the 1970s and was widely propagated in the early 1980s by the World Conservation Strategy, which called for the maintenance of essential ecological processes, the preservation of biodiversity, and sustainable use of species and ecosystems. Is also, like we say, we should not exploit the biological resource beyond some limit. We have to adopt sustainable development. the needs of sustainable development, like to improve the quality of life without necessarily having to consume more resources, to utilize resources in economic terms, to educate the public, to create awareness for understanding the concepts involved in sustainable development and work to achieve it, to invite the people to all races to work together for creating healthy and certain and clean environment, to protect and restore natural resources for the present and future generations, to reduce the disparities or differences between the poor and rich, what we say environmental justice, and developed and developing countries with respect to economy, technology, and food production. So, to ensure equity for social, economical, and environmental well-being, and for intergenerational, interspecies, intergroup. So what we say as environmental justice is, um, justice means we have to uh, give to the poor also. That means suppose you say we are enjoying air conditioners, ACs. AC is using the electricity, and electricity is coming from thermal power stations, and thermal power stations use the coal from the coal mines. But the people living in around the coal mine are affected due to the coal mining dust or environmental pollution, or the people living in and the thermal power station are affected. But we are enjoying the electricity, but the people there are being affected or being suffering from the environmental pollution. So, are we giving environmental justification to them? No. So, how we can justify if we will not use the air conditioners, or if we will use the reduced amount of electricity, what is basic needed, what is needed at the basic level or basic requirement, then we can justify them. So the environmental justification can be at the individual level, also can at the community level, or can be at the group level. Then to ensure equity for social, economic, and environmental well-being, and for intergenerational, interspecies, and intergroup, to develop some substitute products in place of scarce resources. For example, solar energy and biogas can be used in place of fossil fuels. So solar energy and biogas can be used in place of fossil fuels. So as we say, clean energy or can green energy, wind energy also we can generate. Then to avoid exploitation of natural resources like water, air, soil, energy, forest, etc. To conserve biodiversity, to minimize the utilization of non-renewable natural resources. So non-renewable means fossil fuels. That was wood for cooking, or we can say coal for cooking. Fossil fuels like oil or petroleum products, excessive use must be stopped, must be avoided, so that we can protect our environment to a greater level. Then some challenges of sustainable development, as we know, sustainable development must be beneficial for the people and also for the environment as a whole. But due to the following reasons, it is difficult to form policies for sustainable development. Objection to limit the consumption of natural resources. So, so, so if we are trying to limit the use of natural resources, so some objections or social resistance may come. People will say, why we will not use the wood for the cooking, because it is freely and available without any cost. We can bring from forest. But side by side, if you see, if the whole community or the whole village depend on the forest for the fuel, they can take hold the for so they will use in a unsustainable way or in an unregulated way. So one time will come, but the wood, dead wood log is useful for the ecosystem, for the growth of termites, or for mineralization, or for increase the organic carbon content of the soil, will be taken for burning. So your ecosystem processes will be hampered. So natural processes like with the biogeochemical cycles, carbon cycle, oxygen cycle, um, phosphorus cycle, nitrogen cycle, all the biogeochemicals are to be maintained very effectively for the ecosystem balance. But this is not happening in a very regular level, or you can say because of the human interference or anthropogenic interference in the ecosystems. So then wide disparities in the economies of the developed and developing countries. So as we say, there is difference gap or gap between poor and rich. Rich and poor have a bigger differences. So how we can say that, um, or we can resist the people, poor people do don't bring fuel from the forest because they don't have the economy to bear the cost of natural gases. So there are some economic disparities, economic hurdles, economic barriers are there, by which we are also not able to resist some of the societal sections not to use the natural resources. So then unchanged personal attitudes towards resource and development, because we have some personal attitude, like we say, some people say that yes, it is free available, why will not bring, why will purchase the gas. So this attitudinal thought is also very dangerous, because sometimes people are capable of taking natural gas, but they will not take because they have to invest some money, so they avoid it. So it is, which is also very dangerous. Then uncontrolled population growth. We know the population of India is now in and around 145 crore people, is surpassing the China. So this huge population growth in India is going to affect the um, uh, resources, maybe soil resource, maybe forest resource, maybe the energy resource. So how, because with the growth of population, the demand on the resources or the use of resources increases. So which is very difficult to with the control or to handle. Then today's economic patterns do not protect the natural environment. So today's economic patterns, economic growth or industrial setups give least priority to natural environment. So how we can go for the protection of the environment? So we have to be. That's why we say environmentally responsible citizens should be there. Ecologically, massive environmental degradation and climate change threaten the stability of ecological systems. Okay. Socially, an increasing gap between rich and poor and the global north-south divide denies many access to basic human needs, rights, and education, leading to further environmental degradation. So, as we say, the global south and global north. Global north are the rich countries or the developed countries. They are economically sound, and but the global south, we say, they are poor countries or the economically downtrodden countries. They do not have sufficient resource to deal with the or we can say to manage with their lifestyle, which will be environmentally sensitive. So this, in this way, you say there is a huge gap between rich and poor, or the global north and global north countries. We say global south countries, which denies many access to basic human needs, rights, and education, leading to further environmental degradation. So then, conservation of energy resources is another social issues or the deal or social challenge. The many issues regarding the energy problems, as we know, are like to utilize the non-renewable energy sources at their maximum efficiency. No doubt we are using petrol, we no doubt we are electricity, but is it at the highest efficient level? Are we able to utilize the energy 100% what we are receiving? No. Sometimes when putting the fuel in our vehicle, due to the energy maintenance, less energy, the engine maintenance, or due to the low engine performance, or even sometimes we must be knowing if your tires tubes are not well air, if you are not giving proper air, so due to flattening of the tires also you consume more energy. So properly airing of your tires and tubes, or maintaining the tires also saves your energy. Sometimes people use the tire almost when it is complete finished. It is complete flat and plain. But at that time, if your tire is completely wear out, so it consumes more, because more friction will happen between the wheels and the road. So more friction happening means more energy your vehicle has to consume. So that's why non-renewable energy sources must be used at their maximum efficiency. Then to make use of renewable energy sources to their optimum capacity. So how to make use of renewable energy sources at the optimum capacity? Like in India and subcontinent, we are almost having around the year solar energy or solar influx, or so we can say some daylight. From the daylight or solar energy, we can save the energy by solar panels, batteries, to use it at least to enlighten our homes, not to depend on the coal-powered thermal power stations. So renewable energy, how can be used efficiently? That technique also we should know. To search for alternative energy. Alternative energy means that we say the renewable source of energy instead of fossil fuels or like that. Then to adopt the integrated energy management by using all energy sources, that is fossil, nuclear, wind, solar, water, and other sources to obtain sustainable energy. So integrated energy management using all energy sources, fossil. So we know nuclear energy. So we know wind. We know solar. We know hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity dams are specifically built on the Himalayan belt, all the northeastern states, because from the high altitude, all of sort of the water flows to a very low, high elevation to low elevation. So that has much power. And after that, after which that much power is used for the moving of turbines, getting energy sufficient. To adopt the legislative measures to conserve energy, as it satisfies the slogan, energy saved is energy generated. So legislative means by rule and regulations must be strong enough at the country or uh, state level to save our energy. That's why legislative measures, or we can say rules, and rules, laws, and regular enforcement should be very efficient and strong. The strategies to save energy. Following measures are to be taken to solve the problems related to energy. Use of less energy consuming machines. Like I say, 5-star marked machines, 4-star, 3-star marked machines, or electronic gadgets nowadays are coming. So you should prefer 5-star marked gadgets because it is energy efficient. Use of renewable and low emission technologies such as photovoltaic cells, solar appliances for heating purpose. Use light, fans, and ACs whenever required. So whenever there is no requirement light, we should switch off. Or when we are going out of home, we should switch off the lights and fans, ACs whenever required. So because this saves energy, so it saves energy means this saves our currency or saves our future. Use renewable forms of energy which are environment friendly and non-polluting. So we should use the renewable forms of energy which are non-polluting. Conservation energy by following waste recovery systems. So like we say, uh, generation of energy from the waste materials by incineration or pyrolysis method. So that that conserves our energy. That means waste must be burned if possible to get energy for other uses. Then conservation of water. We know this is one of the major issues nowadays. The fresh water availability or the clean and hygienic water for drinking is one of the biggest issues with the ever increasing population across the world. It is not the issue at a village level, it is also the issue at the global level. So we should have careful measures to conserve water in day-to-day life, sustainable water utilization, rainwater harvesting. Okay. Then sustainable water utilization, uh, for, um, for sustainable water utilization, following measures can be adopted. Like domestic water consumption should be restricted to minimum. The irrigational canals should be free from seepage through side and bottom. Nowadays, you must have seen many canals or water irrigation systems are being concrete floored because with the concrete flooring or the concrete embankments, there is very less chance of water seepage. So our maintenance cost will be less or unnecessary water loss will not be there. Then the industrial application should be should be recycled to use it again and again. So industrial wastewater, if it is moving out, we should store it. We should use for gardening or you should use it after cooling or purifying it again. So in production of vegetation, then unnecessary waste of water should not be allowed. Like we should adopt drip irrigation. Drip means drop irrigation at the root zones of the plants or vegetable crops. So that the water which is required only that can be taken by the plants and for growing. But if you apply more complete flooding of the water or fields, So many water goes seeping into the underground level or goes out of the root zones of the plants. So that will cause the loss of water, more water. It will require more water to irrigate. And for to irrigate more water, we need more energy, fuel like electricity or diesel, motor engines, diesel machines, or pump sets to get more water. Then the quality of water should be maintained within desirable limits. Then the water quality is one of the other major parameters to for our health, not only for our health, for the health of aquatic lives, etc. How water conservation is made? Construction of dams and reservoirs. Okay, that is one of them. Digging wells, interlinking of rivers, water harvesting in several places, recycling and reusing of water, stopping wastage of water at different areas, adopting drip irrigation in croplands. So this way we can conserve water. Construction dams. If you we know in the rainy season how much water is being thrown through the rivers, through Ganga, Mahanadi, Krishna, Kaveri, Namada, from the Indian subcontinent to the oceans. So how we can save more and water in the river basins or water sets? That's why watershed management must be very properly targeted or must be aimed to develop the or to recharge the underground water level. Digging wells. So, like we say, we have to dig the ponds and wells so that where water will be conserved or it will help the water to recharge underground system or it will be stored enough. Interlinking of rivers, which was one of the missions of our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. How we can have a mission or to link one river with the other so that if one river is flooded, so that flooded or you can say water can be channelized to another river if where it is dry. So interlinking, which is very difficult, actually, the bigger one of the biggest projects we can achieve if we are able to do. Then water harvesting in several places, like water harvesting structures, if from our roof, even our household in the urban areas, we can have the channels or pipelines to discharge the water to some fields where the water will be discharged down to the groundwater or on the groundwater table or aquifers. But that must be proactive, or we should take proactive steps looking at the water conservation or changing in the weather patterns or climate change pattern. Then recycling and reuse of water. Recycling and reuse of water is also very important. As already we have said, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So if you are you're not able to reduce the water wastewater, at least you reuse. If you are not, you reuse, also you recycle. That same 3R principle also applies to the solid waste generated. Stopping wastage of water at different areas. If there is leakage in pipes or taps, overflowing overhead tanks like that, we should stop it. Or we should be careful about that so that a drop of water is not lost. Then adopting drip irrigation in croplands. Already I have to tell drop irrigation system or whatever water is required for the plants, that must be taken by the plants by drip irrigation. Then resettlements and rehabilitation of people. Why this issue is coming? When because resettlements, like we said, the bright example of Hirakud Dam in Odisha or Narmada Dam in Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, or we say any type of bigger project or a hydro electric dam project or coal mining project. So where the people are also living in that area, so they are displaced, or we have to government has to remove them, or even we develop a national park or biosphere reserve. If there are settlements inside it, so we have to remove from them and we have to resettle somewhere else. So that is resettlement rehabilitation people is one of the biggest issues when we're planning for environmental conservation or the conservation of biospheres or the or even making some mega projects like hydroelectricity roads like that. So problems arising due to resettlements, like we have social problems. Some social networks are disturbed. For example, tribal people undergo harsh treatments because they do not adapt to new environmental so quickly, or they suffer from shortage of basic amenities for their living. Then community structures are broken, cultural identity is lost because a village is settled for longer period of time, and then traditions are weakened. Traditions means the actually the traditions and customs. What we say, what are the general practices are there in the village setups like that is also lost, or people get lost of that track. Near and dear ones are also dispersed. Interrelationship and mutual uh, potential for mutual understanding is also reduced. Then economic problems like sources of income are lost. If my agriculture field is gone because of the project, or my pond is gone where I was depending on fishing, so that way I lost my income source. So economic instability will also come. The government support may not be sufficient for my livelihood or for my future, because my land, because but my land is a proper permanent property. So families may face long-term hardships. So because of this, the families may face the problems. Educational, psychological, and environmental problems. Children education is interrupted. Since near and dear ones are dispersed, this separation imparts psychological hit. Resettlement in new environment gives rise to trauma. Resettled people face greater problem for their livelihood. In this way also we face due to some social problems, economic problems, educational, psychological, and environmental issues. Then what are the objectives and planning of the resettlement rehabilitation? So the affected people should be given proper choice for their resettlement and rehabilitation. The Ministry of Rehabilitation and Resettlement, like in Government of India and different state governments, should take care of the displaced people. The following policies may also be implemented, like to provide adequate compensation, social infrastructure, and community services. To relocate a locality of their choice, and proper facilities is also required. To improve their standard of living, also we need to give them financial support. Then environmental ethics is, as I was telling, is one of the biggest thing. Ethics is a topic of debate, like, because in the today's world of competitions, consumerism, sometimes we forget the ethics, what we should do or what we should not do, what we should not behave to others, what we should behave to ourselves, or what we should have a limited use of resources, thinking about the future. So ethics is a branch of philosophy dealing with the study of collective responsibility towards vulnerable things, person, social institutions, and human communities. Environmental ethics is the study of issues that are related to the rights of individuals, that would include living creatures apart from human beings. Environmental ethics deal with the right or wrong actions of mankind with respect to the surrounding, that is air, water, land, and other species. So some of the issues, like we say, because of human activities leading to deteriorating the environment, environmental ethics came into existence, or came into limelight in the during 1970s, when actually we got the Wildlife Act 1972, we got the Water Act 1974, Air Act 1981. So during that period also, we got the rules, acts taking a major place in the policy making, so that our environment is protected. You know the 1984 Bhopal gas tragedy, when the methyl isocyanate gas was leaked from the Union Carbide industry, and many people died. It damaged the environment. Then government became aware, and it enacted the Environment Protection Act (EPA) 1986 in India, which is gave a major security and security cover, or the safety cover to environment, along with the life and property safety of the common man or common citizens. Common citizens, they are not responsible, that they don't know anything about the what is happening in the industry. So industry should be liable. So industry should have the response. Industry should be liable to the safety and security of the general public. So in my EPA given that scope for the safety of the common man. The issues like we say conservation of concentration of carbon dioxide or the other harmful gases in the atmosphere due to burning of fossil fuels, due to increase deforestation, pollution of atmosphere, industrialization, urbanization, and other technological developments causing deterioration of the quality of ingredients of environment. Okay, due to overexploitation and the depletion of natural resources, etc. What are the consequences? Then, if you the consequences will be, if you will not follow the ethics, then we will have greenhouse effect and global warming, as I have told already. Acid rain, which will be causing due to excessive CO2 and sulfur dioxide gases. So, which causes acid rain, causing the damage to the aquatic bodies, monuments, and the changing dynamics in the soil chemistry. Then you see ozone layer depletion. We know ozone layer depletion, which is a very popular topic of environment from the school time. We know ozone hole, how it is created due to the CFC release from the chlorofluorocarbon from the refrigeration or cryogenic engines, or we can say other industrial setups. Then climate change will be obviously one of the ultimate effect, which will be very difficult to control at the local level or the micro level. It becomes a global or a planetary scale. Then these problems have to be solved carefully so as to achieve a good environment. Then comes the climate change. Climate change is the average of weather over time and across large regions, even the entire planet. The global climate has always varied for many regions, such as interactions between components in the climate systems like oceans, atmosphere, ice sheets, etc. Climate change, on the other hand, occurs because the amount of energy in the entire climate system is changed, which affects each and every component in the system. Changes in the Earth's orbit, the energy received from the sun, and the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere can all cause climate change. So, as I was telling, the climate change is one of the biggest impact, which will be very difficult to control at the micro level or micro scale, as it has gone at the planetary scale. So, what does climate change matter? Like we say, small changes in average temperature can translate to big changes across the planet, leading to rising sea levels due to the change, excessive melting of the glaciers. Okay, then more extreme weather and some areas becoming much harder to live in. Plants, animals, humans, and societies have developed in a climate that has varied only a little, except over extremely long time scales. We are not adapted to cope with rapid climate change. Then consequences of climate change, as you know, climate change affects the availability of plants and animal foods, drinking water, forest products, etc. Because it changes the landscape dynamic, it changes the forest ecosystems, productivity. Then changes in disease causing germs and make them stronger and of more varieties leads to epidemics of known diseases and newer types of diseases in human beings and animals. As we know, due to climate change, average rise of temperature, the breeding of mosquitoes, rate of breeding increases, causing malaria or dengue in the urban setups because of the warmer environment. Increased occurrence of disease coupled with floods, drought, etc., leads to migration of the population from one place to another, and this causes problems of settlements of refugees and their livelihood. Then another effect, we say the wasteland reclamation. Wasteland reclamation means, as I was saying, if due to the climate change or the excessive use of forest resources, the lands becomes vegetationless. As the lands become vegetationless, it leads to the drying of the or you can say moisture deficiency in the moisture. Deficiency in moisture leads to the desertification process. It supports initially for thorn or hardy species, but as gradually those species will also not survive and be killed. So how these wastelands can be reclaimed, or it can be covered with trees, or afforestation, or reforestation, or eco-restoration. So a land which is not used for agriculture purpose, and or not useful to its optimum potential due to various reasons is called the wasteland. The lands which are flood prone, drought prone, or deserts are also considered as wastelands, because these lands have been subject to various forms of degradation. So causes of formation of wasteland, like you can say, following factors cause the land to become wasteland: an increase in the rate of deforestation, soil pollution, wind erosion, water logging. Examples of wastelands: we can degraded forest land, waterlogged land, barren rockland, some saline land. Saline land, how it is developed? Because if you do continuous farming, some agricultural fields, the soil, if you are not changing the soil quality, or not helping the changing of the soil, so the soil gradually becomes saline or becomes salty. Or even you see the high tides or the tsunami, in the coastal lands are flooded. So as the tidal water recedes, after that, that soil is deposited with salt after the water is evaporated. So that becomes soil becomes also unsuitable for the crop. Like that happens in the coastal zones of Kendrapara district, or many coastal zones across India or world. So it is very difficult to control them. So how those saline lands or salt-rich soils can be of use for the can be useful for the growth of vegetation. So abandoned quarries are land, like some quarries, like where we take the stone quarries, particularly the chips, pebbles we make and for construction. So those quarries are also abandoned, and that becomes also very much worse. One of the wastelands increasing because of the real estate business going very fast, or using of the concrete buildings or concrete structures. So that is also one of the uh, wasteland, how we should be thoughtful to restore it. Then reclamation means what? Means reclaiming, that is developing the wasteland for productive uses. Because of urbanization and increase of human population, there could be serious problems related to growing crops, vegetables, fruits, fodder, fuel for food, in the near future. Due to these problems, there is a need to develop wastelands back to cultivable by means of scientific means. Measures of wasteland reclamation. Following are the measures for wasteland reclamation, like you can say afforestation. In this case, the forests are developed for the first time over the cultural wasteland. So you have to develop for afforestation. Reforestation means restoration of the forest over the lands where forests are existing earlier and destroyed due to overgrazing or excessive cutting, shifting cultivation, or fires. So we have to reforest it. Reforestation prevents waterlogging, flood, soil erosion, and increases the productive capacity of the land. Protecting soil erosion by providing groundwater. So how we can protect soil erosion by providing groundwater? So then changing the ground topography on downhills by adopting strip farming, terracing, contour plowing, and tied ridges. You must have seen the step cultivation, so that the water flow will not be all of a sudden causing the erosion of the soil. That is in particularly practiced in the northeastern states especially. Then mulching means providing protective cover to stop the removal of sand, huh? Because of mulching, evaporation decreases, and soil moisture increases, and soil erosion is reduced. So organic matter and plants are used as mulch. Okay, mulch means giving some dry vegetation, dried leaves or plant parts are covered on the soil, which uh, gives a protective cover to stop removal of sand, or because that means due to the force of the raindrops, so the soil will not be eroded. So evaporation will also be decreased, and soil moisture level maintained or increases, helping for the growth and sustainability of the young seedlings, particularly on the forest floor or the soil layers. Then leaching, the salinity of the land is minimized by leaching with more water. Then protecting the river banks by uh, proving stones or making stone layers along the banks, or concrete pitching, or by plantations along the river banks. Changing the agricultural practices by adopting mixed cropping of plantation and crop rotation, so that the fertility of the land increases. Controlling the formation of gullies by constructing the diversion of drains, bonds, and dams. Ecological succession is approached by slow growing native, which helps reclaiming the mineral deficient soils in industrial and mining wastelands. So then lastly, consumerism and waste products. As I was giving you example, what is needed I should consume. I should not try to be greedy. I should not be maintaining a luxurious life by which our environment is affected. So due to industrialization, urbanization, and increasingly commercial society, consumption of resources by the people has been increased. The consumption of resources is known as consumerism. People very easily discard the old materials due to change in living styles or fashions. Like in today's people, or you can in the young ones or children, today's children, they will not prefer to wear a old cloth. They will always try to new one. If it is somehow torn, they will not try to stitch it also. So this way, what you say, you depend on markets for new products. So this way, consumerism leads you to the release of the waste products in the environment more. So people very easily discard the old materials due to, you see, before 20, 25 years back, when the economic condition of the general sections of people, sections of the Indian country was not very high. So what had happened actually? So even the father's old pant is not suitable to use further. So that pant is being converted to father's from bags. That bag is also sometimes we carry for taking the books or slates into the school. So that means one product, if is worth not worth of use, it can be converted to another product which can be used for other, even it can be used for marketing in the local huts or the groceries, etc. So these type of practices should be there, which is now very rare to be seen in the modern society. So this results in the production of waste products. For example, old TV uh, sets, cell phones, etc., are replaced by new ones, giving rise to a lot of post-consumed waste product, e-waste. Nowadays, all of us know how people are very fashionable with mobiles, smartphones. Any new brand is coming up, they just discard the old one and try to take the some new ones. By that, what we generate e-waste, electronic waste, that are even maybe pencil batteries, a lot are thrown as such into the environment that causes the pollution. We know how lead is very polluting in our environment. So e-waste is one of the also biggest issues. The old when the laptop culture came, before that many desktops were there. You must have seen the desktop just dumped to a greater height at many places. So those are gone waste. Then strategies to control strategy of consumers should be how to buy less, uh, and buy goods which have little or no packaging, and buy more durable goods. Green technologies and use of biodegradable materials should be encouraged. The three R's like reduce, reuse, and recycle should be practiced. Some other issues include industrial ecology, green marketing, consumer protection bodies. Then some Bigovian taxes. That means if you are polluting environment or any product going to make harm to the environment, so that product should have added tax, so that people will buy with it, including that tax, so that people will be careful about the environment. And eco-labeling means you must have seen many products are eco-labeled. That means it is eco-friendly or recyclable materials. So that should be thought of when you are purchasing products from the market. So these have been developed. These mechanisms have been developed to protect environment from degradation due to waste products. So here are some questions. Please just mark it true or false and tell me. Question one is use light, fans, and ACs whenever not required. Whether it will be true or false. Any of you? Use light, fans, ACs whenever not required. It will be true or false. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Uh, Tell me, it will be true or false. Question one.
No, sir. False.
Okay, then two.
True.
Yes. Point three.
True.
Yes, good. Then four.
False.
Industrialization, urbanization, and other technological developments are not causing deterioration of the quality of living. So it will be false, na? It not causing, no, it is causing, nahi? Then
Yes.
point five. Point five.
So 1 minute, sir. True, sir.
No, false. Just reverse. Climate is defined as the average of weather, not weather is defined as the average of climate. This is a tricky
Yes.
question.
Sorry.
Climate is defined as the average of weather, not weather is defined.
Weather.
So weather is local,
Yes.
but climate is global or some major region like
Global.
India or northeastern states. Uh,
Yes.
so if you have a this topic on the society and environment, where to apply this knowledge? Where we can have a implication, implement where we want to implement. Like the business application of social issues and the environment has become increasingly important in recent years, with companies recognizing that addressing these areas can lead to long-term profitability, sustainable growth, and positive societal impact. Here are some key business applications that integrate social issues and environmental concerns. So here we can apply corporate social responsibility, CSR, sustainable supply chains, impact investing and social enterprises, eco-friendly products and services, green technology and innovation, employee engagement and well-being, regulatory compliance and environmental standards, brand reputation and consumer demand, corporate governance and ethical leadership, green marketing and communication. So these are the some of the fields where the these social issues and environment topic can be very useful when deciding different strategies. So this session summary we can have like this. So human being and society are interrelated. Without society, there is no existence of man, and without man, a society cannot exist. As man and society are interrelated with each other. Therefore, social issues are also arising in the society by man's activity for economic growth, some sort of environmental changes, which is also inevitable to which human beings sometimes become victims. It is therefore necessary to achieve economic growth more environment friendly way. Sustainability involves managing economic, social, and ecological systems which within the environment and an organizational entity outside for sustaining itself and the system existing within it. So for maintaining the life, producing the agriculture products, and for growing industrialization, water is essential substance. When there are major projects involving construction of dams, mines, power plants, refineries, fertilizer and chemical industries, river valley projects, reservoirs, expressways, etc., the population settled in those areas have to be removed to alternate places. So resettlement rehabilitation we have to address. Ethics, no doubt, is a branch of philosophy dealing with the study of collective responsibility towards vulnerable things, persons, social institutions, and human communities. Environmental ethics is the study of issues that are related to the rights of individuals that would include living creatures apart from human beings. Environmental ethics deal with the right or wrong action of mankind with respect to his surroundings, air, water, land, and other species. Since the beginning of human civilization, mankind has lived in a competitive relationship with nature. His relentless pursuit of progress, comfort, and security has resulted in increased stress on environment, particularly since the industrial revolution we have entered. Consequently, the life-sustaining environment has been forced to transform more. Life-sustaining environment has been forced to transform more rapidly than ever before. Human tendency to exert a negative influence on ecology has resulted into rapid increase in the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, large-scale deforestation, loss of biodiversity, severe land degradation, and environmental pollution. Due to industrialization, urbanization, and increasingly commercial society, consumption of resources by the people has been increased. The consumption of resource is also known as consumerism. The consumerism must be limited to a level which will not have negative impact on our environmental setups. People very easily discard old materials due to change in living styles and fashion. So these type of living styles, or we can say particularly luxurious lifestyles, must be avoided to safeguard our environment. This results in the production of huge waste products. Consumerism causes the wasteful use of energy and material. Consumerism should be reduced to prevent the environmental degradation and save the natural resources from depletion. So with this, thank you. So I think we have still 30 minutes or 40 minutes left. So we'll give a 5-minute break. After that, we'll discuss again. So I am stopping here. I am stopping here and again rejoining after 5 minutes.
Okay, sir.